Hello and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. At the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission meeting on June 30th, Historic Preservation Program Manager Gloria Colomb Branya presented a petition to move the house located at 701 West 4th Street. Branya shared that the petitioner, Peter Horolovic, wants to move the house to the back of the property and to construct a new house in its place.
This is the current house and its location. It is much more set back than its neighbors along the street. It's kind of in the middle of the lot. The proposal calls for it to be moved from the middle of the lot to the back of the lot. And this is a proposal for the new facade. Not facade, for the new construction. And this is how the layout would look. So staff, all that said, staff recommends approval of COA 22-44.
Branya commented that this is a solution they have come to after many months of discussion. Horolovic explained what his goals are for the house and the property.
I did a lot of investigating about how I might add on to it, or somehow create a space for a dwelling, and I just couldn't get it to pencil out, and aesthetically it didn't work. And so I thought the better solution would be to, kind of save it as an art object and put it in the district where it can remain and be as it is and as it was originally constructed and remain there. So from the exterior, it'll look what it looks like now. And then the house in the front, I'm trying to adapt to the neighborhood. So that's my goal, is to try to keep this thing preserved at the same time, create another building that fits the neighborhood and allows me to reside there and age in place. So my goal is I want to live in the neighborhood.
The commission voted to approve the petition unanimously. On June 29th, at the Monroe County Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, Vice Chair Skip Daly asked the board to draft a letter to the Board of Commissioners requesting an expedited appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals. The motion passed unanimously. County Attorney David Schilling presented a resolution for review that the board had previously approved on September 1st, 2021.
This is not a hearing to accept new evidence, because the issue is whether the BZA made an error of law based on the record on September 1st of 2021. So the purpose of the hearing is to accept a legal argument on whether or not the BZA made a mistake in granting a conditional use approval to Bedford Recycling for a central garbage rubbish collection facility.
Schilling explained that the board needed to decide whether or not to continue to grant the Bedford Recycling Center their conditional use request. Attorney Dustin Plummer spoke representing the Bedford Recycling Center.
The question presented in the packet indicates that potentially there was an error of law based on two reasons. One, that the proposed use did not meet the definition of a central garbage rubbish collection facility. And then two, potentially some question over the use of the term scrapyard and whether or not that is a permitted use within the context of the zoning ordinance. The board's initial decision was correct and should be upheld, is the short answer to the question. The confusion in this comes from the question of whether or not we're dealing with solid waste. And when you see central garbage rubbish collection facility, I think the mind initially goes to waste. However, further within the ordinance and actually within the definition, both recycled matter is referenced within the definition of what is a central garbage or rubbish collection facility. And furthermore, in the specific case of section 33, which was cited and incorporated as part of the decision, the ordinance is clear that This also includes a recycling facility. The testimony that was given at the initial hearing indicated that materials, recyclable materials, were going to be brought in to the facility. They would be sorted, processed, and then transported to another facility in part of the recycling chain. This matches squarely within the definition and the use that was granted and should be upheld.
Board member Guy Loffman asked Plummer if the Bedford Recycling Center meets the policy definition of a solid waste collection facility.
This is the central garbage rubbish collection facility or private establishments contracted to remove solid waste from residential or commercial uses. We agree that's not what this is. That's not something that you all do, that your client does, right?
Loffman said that he understands the argument that the recycling center is technically still contracting with residents to pick up their recycling materials. However, the intent of a recycling center says that they are supposed to pick up solid waste.
Well, you can perhaps understand when I look at this, it looks like it's, you know, Abe's trash hauling that brings things to a local facility, and it's your client does not contract remove solid waste from residential or commercial end users, but from people who haul it from that. Okay, I think I get the logic here.
Sure.
Of your argument, and it's helpful to me because I'm looking at this definition.
The vote to vacate the September 1st conditional use decision failed 2-1, with Daley saying there was not enough evidence that the original decision was unlawful. Since the vote failed to pass, the board will hear it again at their next meeting. And we'll have more Cats Week after this message.
For hurting families in Monroe County.
A contribution to children who are vulnerable and in need of an advocate.
A staff that goes above and beyond to support and advocate for children in need of services.
The web of remarkable people who are dealing with difficult situations.
So many young people that are in need of help and trying to find a stable family, a stable place to live. Without the CASAs to make that happen, many of them would be unable to find a good home.
I love being that voice for the child who can't speak for themselves in court.
It takes me out of my comfort zone, and it also helps others.
CASA means supporting our community.
Being a CASA is making sure that your village is healthy and whole, and that the children in your village will someday be able to help the village as well.
A child who doesn't have a voice, maybe in their family situation or a school situation, now has a voice that can advocate for them.
I really enjoy working with children that are going through difficult times and letting them know that I care about their future.
We are privileged with our charge of representing the best interest of children. And so therefore we can advocate for exactly what they need without restriction, focusing on their best interest.
I want to repair the world one child at a time.
Welcome back to Cats Week. At the Monroe County Commissioners meeting on June 29th, President Julie Thomas read a statement on behalf of the commissioners and signed on to a local public official's statement on the reversal of Roe v. Wade.
In response to the devastating and harmful decision by the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade, the undersigned public officials in Bloomington, Monroe County, and township government stand together in support of an individual's right to bodily autonomy and reproductive choice. Further, as community leaders in Bloomington, Monroe County, we are proud to fund the healthcare, childcare, and birth control needs of low-income individuals and families through multiple local grant programs and township assistance. We stand with Planned Parenthood and the All Options Pregnancy Center as they meet the reproductive health care needs of the most vulnerable in our community. We call upon state legislators in Indiana to exercise reason and respect and to protect individuals' rights to make their own healthcare decisions in consultation with their own healthcare providers. We object to any legislative course of action that further erodes a person's right to choose. Thoughtful compassion is the foundation of any just and equitable community. As public officials, it is our responsibility to speak out when we see rights stripped away from our residents, and it is our obligation to oppose decisions that will cause unjust hardship and increase poverty for those that we represent. We object to any civil or human right being taken away by activists on the U.S. Supreme Court and to any legislative action that undermines the well-being of our residents or those of the state of Indiana.
The commissioners also shared a proclamation recognizing the LGBTQ+ rights movement. Commissioner Penny Githens said that from now on, June 28th will be recognized as Pride Day in Monroe County.
In support of Pride Month, we have flown the Pride flag throughout the month of June at the Monroe County Courthouse. As we say every week in our opening statement, we affirm the right of every resident of Monroe County to live peacefully and without fear. Now, therefore, we, the Monroe County Commissioners, proclaim June 28th, 2022 as Pride Day.
Thomas also shared a proclamation making June 29, 2022, Eric Evans Day in honor of Director of Technical Services Eric Evans, who is leaving his position. According to Githens, Evans was hired in 2013 and helped the county get through a variety of obstacles.
In his tenure as the director, Eric raised the standard for the county's technology. And Eric oversaw the migration of data to the cloud, guided the creation of our new website, and provided vital support in the creation of the OpenGov system for the planning, building, and health departments. He led the technical services department in Monroe County through power outages, cut cables, server issues, email spam, a flood, and a pandemic.
Commissioner Lee Jones said that Evans was an integral part of the switch to Zoom meetings to keep county business going during the pandemic.
And I'd like to add that not all county employees and elected officials were easy to get participating on Zoom. And I was certainly one of those. And Eric was very, very patient and went quite a ways out of his way to help me be able to continue to participate in our meetings.
Next, the commissioners approved a request from the Parks Board to fund a, quote, painting in nature, unquote, program. Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation, John Robertson, presented the agreement with Sarah Erickson.
So these programs will consist of a 30-minute environmental education activity to begin, and then will be followed by the painting, which will take around an hour and a half. The first event is scheduled at Will Detmer Park on July 16th for anybody that's interested in attending. And then there will be a registration fee for $10. It should be noted on the agreement that the amount is not to exceed $290. That's actually for both programs. So each one will be $145. I myself am not a great painter, but I have no doubt that this will be a popular activity.
Commissioner Jones asked if there would be an age limit on the program. Robertson said that it would be open to everyone. The commissioners approved the funding unanimously. The Bloomington Board of Park Commissioners met on June 28th. Sports Facility and Program Manager Dee Tuttle asked the board to approve a contract with Carpets Plus Color Tile for a flooring project at the Frank Southern Ice Arena facility.
Today I'm seeking an agreement with the Carpets Plus Color Tile for the replacement of carpet at the Frank Southern Ice Arena in the entryway and the lobby area. The contract will include the removal of the old carpet, old adhesives, and installation of new, it's called walk-off carpet in the entry area. And then we will be putting Mondo Sport Impact in the lobby area in front of the admissions counter And that flooring is identical to the flooring that we currently have where the benches are located. And this replacement carpet will be paid for with the general obligation bond.
Tuttle said that the original carpet was installed in 2009 and has been worn down by thousands of ice skaters every year. The board approved the carpet installation unanimously. Urban Forester Aaron Hatch asked the board to approve the reappointment of George Hegeman to the Tree Commission. Hatch explained that he was previously appointed to the commission and is a valuable member thanks to all of his experience.
This is a 3-year appointment. George has served on the Tree Commission previously, albeit not in the position appointed by the Park Board. And so we're simply seeking to potentially reappoint him and have this long-term member and all of his institutional knowledge back on the board.
Board member Jim Whitlatch commented that there were a lot of qualified candidates for the Tree Commission. The board approved Hegeman's reappointment unanimously. Board President Kathleen Mills shared that it is Hatch's last week as Bloomington's urban forester. Mills thanked her for her work and wished her good luck at her new position in Colorado.
It sounds like a very exciting opportunity, especially all the outdoor things that you can do in Denver. We're going to be, terribly sorry to see you go. And I feel like you've like patiently led us through various tree appeals, and you've answered all of my questions that I've had about, tree removals and tree pruning, and I don't know very much about trees. So you've been very patient and thorough to answer all that. So we wish you a lot of luck.
The next Bloomington Board of Park Commissioners meeting will be held on July 19th. And we'll have more Cats Week after this message.
I'm at risk of thinking there's just no point in trying.
I'm at risk of looking in the mirror and hating what I see.
I'm at risk of regretting what I do, just to join the crowd.
I'm at risk of being told not to tell. And you would never know it by looking at me.
But with Girls Inc. in my corner,
There for me, every day, believing in me,
showing me what's possible,
I can be strong enough to respect myself and my body.
to say I can rather than I can't,
to say no with no apology,
To be a leader.
to finish school,
to own my future.
To break the cycle.
Girls Inc. believes every girl can succeed. That's why the trained professionals of Girls Inc. are there for our girls every day, supporting, mentoring, and guiding them in a safe, girls-only environment. Building bonds that last for years and change that lasts a lifetime. Girls Inc. gives girls the tools they need to boldly face challenges, to resist peer pressure, to be the first in their families to go to college, to beat the odds. With Girls Inc. in her corner, every girl can be healthy, confident, and resilient. She'll do more than dream about her potential. She'll reach it.
With you in my corner.
With you in my corner, I will not be another statistic.
I will fight for myself.
For my future.
With you in my corner, I will win.
Fuel her fire and she will change the world. Girls Inc. Inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Welcome back to Cats Week. During public comment at the Monroe County Community School Corporation Board meeting on June 28th, many parents spoke about school safety and asked the board to take more action. First, Elizabeth Bullock shared that she has previously asked the board to improve their school's safety plans by arming the security officers and wants to make sure the board takes actionable steps to protect the students.
I want to really begin tonight by acknowledging an email I received from April about the board's stance on rearming SROs. April, I think it's pretty clear we disagree about this particular issue, but I really appreciate your willingness to at least listen, respond, and dialogue with us. I think it's added a little bit of humanness in this otherwise somewhat stoic and seemingly ineffective public comment process. So from that email, I think it's my understanding that the board under no circumstances plans to rearm SROs. You also stated in your email you believe that law enforcement is not equipped to handle high-powered assault rifles used to attack in attacks such as that in Uvalde. And you suggested I focus my efforts on better gun sense laws. So I want to be really clear that I've come to this board meeting month after month requesting that MCSC make improvements to school safety plans that are preventative and immediate in nature. Gun sense laws are absolutely part of my big picture mission, but not something the school system can implement today that's going to keep our children safe.
Concerned parent Maria Douglas agreed, saying she would like to see the board increase school safety measures.
This is the 9th month I've attended the meeting to talk about the need for increase in school safety. A lot can happen in 9 months. Some of us could have had a baby in 9 months. Laws have been passed. There have been over 27 school shootings and 83 students and staff killed or injured, according to Education Weekly. And remember, no one is left uninjured in any of these school shootings, so 83 is a very low number because of psychological and mental health trauma that happens when there's a school shooting. Last month's meeting took place in the early hours of coverage on the Uvalde shooting. At that point, we had no time, or at that time, we had no idea the carnage and mistakes that had been made, but we do now. What have we learned? What are we going to do differently? What precautions are we going to take? We've asked for a robust and properly trained SRO program, as I felt this was the simplest, easiest, least invasive, cost-effective measure since, as Elizabeth said, they're pulling down funds. It's been made clear that's not going to happen. So what are we doing? Again, like she asked, are we holding active shooter drills in our empty schools this summer? Are we training our current SROs? Are we collaborating with local law enforcement? Are we building relationships, creating tactical plans? Are we working on transparency and timely communication with faculty and staff so they can act or instruct according to the situation? And are we looking at any immediate short-term solutions to prevent guns of any type from entering the schools? For all of some people who like to troll me on the social media and to the board respectively, this is a yes and situation, not an either or, okay? This is a social services programming and metal detectors, or how about maybe a dog, right? This is a gun storage safety and securing the 19 doors at South. This is advocating for better gun control laws and collaboration with the local law enforcement. So I ask the board and I ask the people that troll me on the social medias, what are you doing to keep the school safe? Again, I'm calling for the reinstatement of community conversations as I have asked before, so we can understand what seems like inaction from the board, how we can understand that. Again, there was a gun at South the last week of school. The protocols you presented to us in that PowerPoint a few months ago were not followed. We have no reason to trust that you have it handled, that you are doing everything that you can, as you said you have, or you're trying to keep the school safe. So I'm just not sure at this point what it's going to take. It's going to happen, you guys, and you'll be responsible for it.
Dr. Markay Winston gave an update on the anti-racism policy development after students spoke out at their last school board meeting.
In response to the insightful remarks from 4 MCCSE students who spoke during the May 24th board meeting, the following short-term actions have been taken. 1, a student meeting. Dr. Hoswell, myself, and our Director of Student Services, Becky Rose, met with all 4 young ladies about their personal experiences, observations, concerns, and suggestions regarding the development of a policy to address anti-racism. 2, meeting with an IU professor. I met with Dr. Riley to learn more about her concerns and her interest in the development, in supporting the development of such a policy. 3, timeline development. We developed an aggressive timeline for engaging students and staff over the next several months in the development of an anti-racism policy. We acknowledge that it is a lengthy process in order to do it properly, but we are fully engaged in making sure that we have a representative sample of students from across multiple backgrounds so that their voices are heard as well. The fourth action that we've taken, student handbook statement. We developed a preliminary anti-racism, anti-microaggression statement to be included in our 2022-2023 student handbooks. The proposed handbook statement is designed to do some of the following items. We'll do each of the following items. 1, to reaffirm MCCSC's commitment to ensuring a safe and inclusive learning environment for all students. 2, to acknowledge that the use of racial slurs and microaggressions are not acceptable and that their usage will not be tolerated within our schools. 3rd, to affirm our collective commitment to respond to all instances of suspected racial bias or harassment in a timely and comprehensive manner.
The next MCCSC School Board meeting will be held on August 23rd. The Ellettsville Town Council meeting on June 27th was canceled due to their inability to reach a quorum. Their next council meeting will be held on July 11th. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.